Good evening. Welcome to the Principals Talk series. Today we feature the Dreamtime team here. Great to have Lina and Dr. Anusha with us today. The session is going to be moderated by Sandhya Viswan. As you know, Principal Talk is a series that EdDeeD organizes regularly where we feature schools, the head of schools and the principal, where they share about their school, the philosophy and the pedagogy, so that the parents of the Bangalore Schools Group and EdDeeD are aware of the opportunities that are out there. Let me have a quick intro of our panelists today. We are happy to have Lina Ashar today with us. Lina is the founder of Dreamtime Learning. She was instrumental in finding Kangaroo Kids and Billabong high schools earlier. Her innovative vision has led to partnerships in more than 17 cities in India, Dubai, Maldives, and she has been in the education industry for more than 30 years now. She has been a disruptor. She disrupted the education industry in 1993, and after long, in 2023, she's again disrupting the education industry with Dreamtime Learning. Lina, absolute pleasure to have you with us today, and great to have you in the Principal Talk series.
Thank you, Manoj. Thank you.
We also have Dr. Anusha, the principal of Dreamtime Learning School, the online version. She's an educator with more than 24 years of experience in pedagogy, curriculum development, strategic planning, education technology, and leadership. Thank you so much, Dr. Anusha, for joining us today.
Thank you, Manoj.
The panel is going to be moderated by Sandhya Viswan. Sandhya is an educator herself, the co-founder of EdDeeD and the co-admin of the Bangalore Schools Group. She has got more than 25 years of experience as an educator, and she also counsels parents in homeschooling, schooling decisions, and educational choices that they take. We are live on Bangalore Schools Group. We are live on the EdDeeD page. Over to you, Sandhya, for the first principal talks.
Thank you, Manoj. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this special session where we explore an exciting new online school that's redefining how children learn, Dreamtime Learning School. Today, we have with us Lina Ashar, the visionary behind this initiative, and the principal of Dreamtime Learning, Dr. Anusha Venkatesh. As more parents consider online education, key questions arise. How does it work? What support is available? And how does it compare to traditional schooling? Lina, it's a pleasure to have you here. Could you just start by sharing a bit about what inspired you to start the online school?
So when I was doing a workshop for Kangaroo Kids and Billabong High, and we got a facilitator from Australia to come and do it, he asked me what my end vision was. And I said, 1 billion kids. And he said, why 1 billion kids? And I said, well, if we want to raise human consciousness, if we want kids to live more fulfilling, happy, purposeful lives, then we'll need a different way of looking at education. We'll need a different experience for kids to go through. And if we want the planet to be healthier, and we want humanity to be sort of thriving, and we're not in competition with each other all the time, that we're kind of collaborating to make sure that we all thrive. As humanity, we need a different way of learning altogether. And that was when, about the same time, I went to a conference in Los Angeles, headed by a guy called Peter Diamandis. And he spoke about all the Ds of disruption, which is digitalization, democratization, dematerialization of education. And that's when kind of the penny dropped. And I said, hey, I've got to redo what I'm doing altogether. For a while, I thought about whether I should do it within Kangaroo Kids and Billabong High framework. And then I said, it's very often easier to build a house from scratch than to try and refurbish an existing one. And at the same time, so if nothing happens by coincidence, I got an offer to buy Kangaroo Kids and Billabong High. So I said, okay, I've got my funding in place. And I've got a new journey we can begin with Dreamtime Learning.
Wonderful, wonderful. And it's true. In today's world, there are a lot of other skill sets that was required than, 30 years ago, definitely. And great. Looking forward to hear more about Dreamtime Learning and the philosophy. But before moving on to the deeper matters, Dr. Anusha, can you please share what exams are supported by Dreamtime Learning School? Because this is a very common question and the first question that parents would be asking.
Right. Very true, because ultimately everybody thinks about the board exam of grade 10. So at present, the boards that we are offering is Cambridge, NIOS, and BOSS. These are the 3 boards we are offering at present.
Okay. Could you just touch upon BOSS as well? Because that's not very common. I am aware, of course, but for our viewers.
BOSS is something which has opened up around 3 years before, but they have got affiliation, first of all, from AIU. Okay, so NIOS and BOSS is almost in the same platform. Also, BOSS has got an affiliation or a recognition from the Cambridge board itself, IB, and a lot of state board across India. And now they are, panning international. So, and the most important thing about BOSS is they allow you to give the board 10 exam online.
Just about to ask that, yes.
That is the reason we had chosen BOSS, because we have certain students who live abroad, and they want to give exams. So this BOSS is the right place where they can give exams. And as I said, it is recognized.
Oh.
So it becomes easy for them.
Great. I will come back to you with certain technical questions on that part again. But people, parents generally were aware of online schooling when COVID struck, right? So, and schools immediately just onboarded. So they didn't have a developed online program per se. And most parents are skeptical about online schooling due to that, because they think it didn't work out for their children. It was just like an offline classroom straight into just a digital platform. So a big question that parents have about online schools today is the teaching methods. So how do children actually learn? So
Sandhya, while Dr. Anusha spoke about the boards, I as an educator I'm fairly board agnostic. I believe that if kids learn, they should be able to sit any examination, across the board. So when we've developed the curriculum, we've taken IB, IG, CB, IC. We've mapped everything. We've looked at the different countries and what they're doing to develop the learning outcomes. Then what we've done is we've actually got a team of 80 what we call them curiosity and excitement architects, who sit, and each one works with me personally, because I'm the one who's done all the research in neuroscience, behavioral science, and the science of learning, and the future context of the world for us to put things together. So the design is already done at the back end. So the teachers have the learning outcomes. They know exactly what to say. They know we've kind of trained them in what an emotional hook is, why it's so important. And so it's much easier for teachers to sort of transformationally have kids experience the curriculum. And a lot of the elements we've used are the same elements as, how apps and games hook our kids. We actually want our kids to be hooked to learning.
Absolutely. That is lovely. So I'm understanding that you have a program that is developed, of course, board agnostic. As an educator, even I agree. The board exams come into the picture only in the last 2 years, and you need to build up on skill sets, not content necessarily. Learning happens. So that's fine, and that's great. So you have a program that works online. So I'm assuming there would be activities or engagement that happens.
So what happens online, firstly, is because kids are highly focused and they're there. We do, contrary to how people think about online learning, there's actually a lot more interaction peer-to-peer in the online school than in an offline school. Because imagine in a physical school, you say now, kids get into groups of 4, half your lesson's gone. In kids getting into groups of 4, whereas online, the cheerleader, that's who we call the teachers. They say, okay, we're going to go into groups of 4, and she's already back-ended all of that. She flips a button, and everyone's gone into the breakout rooms with their resource material and stuff like that. Yes, everything is pre-designed. So active collaboration strategies, active listening strategies, and it's multimedia infused, right? So instead of kids learning from one medium, which is a textbook, Online, they have GIFs, they have videos, they have interactivities that they do, they have polls. They do a lot of work where they're actually creating things. So, for as an example, if we're doing India and kids are, we're asking kids that now you have to recreate Gandhi's Salt March as though Gandhiji had social media as a tool to get his voice out there. And then kids automatically go into the different types of social media groups, and they go on to creating the social media campaign for Gandhiji. In order to do that, they have to go through the resources, they have to understand the historical concept, but the beauty is it all gets integrated: history, English, tech, art. It all gets integrated in the way the ideal world should work of learning.
Great. So also, I'm just trying to understand, you did mention various channels and resources. Do books also come into the picture here? Do you send out kits to the home, or do they have other resources that they can check out?
So they've got all the resources available. So one of my things was to demonetize learning, right? So one of the things that heavily burdens parents are the uniforms, the books, etc., etc. Yeah. So we have all the digital resources available free of cost. And if parents do want the physical copies of the workbooks, etc., they can ask for them to be posted to them at an additional fee of exactly what it costs us to print and send the books.
Sure. Okay. So I do understand that is individualized, working with each child based on their pace and needs. And I'm assuming there is differentiation there. But however, there's another question that is commonly asked about inclusivity, right? So what about students with special needs? Do you have provisions for that? What kind of learning support might be available for them? Or is it possible giftedness, which is rarely spoken about in India? So they have different challenges. So do you?
So we have something called practice and expansion sessions. So at the end of every concept done, the teacher would have the analysis of which kids have done it well, and which kids took 2 or 3 turns to do it, right? That's the other beauty of online. You don't have to submit your work once, you can submit it multiple times. So for the kids who needed to submit it multiple times to get it right, they go into a practice session. For the kids who got it right the first time, they go into an expansion session. So this happens regularly, conceptually, after every sort of building block of learning takes place. So that's for the kids who are gifted. They actually go into very divergent kind of thinking activities. So say, for example, if in the practice session, your grade 1 kids had still to master addition. And, so then they'll go into a practice session to kind of master addition in a convergent thinking way, right? Like 3 + 3 = what? But in the divergent thinking, the expansion room, the kids have got a question that the answer is 6. What are all the possible questions you can come up with, right? And then there's prompts where, okay, you've only given us numbers. If you had to only speak in a language, how could the answer still be 6? So, whether it's number stories, or they have to start thinking about, what is it called when, a batsman hits the ball out of the park, a cricketer, etc. They start thinking divergently instead of convergently. So that's for the kids with expansion. For children who have learning needs, we do an assessment. So we don't not allow kids to join the school, but we may need to shift their level, because it's no use. One of the things that parents don't quite understand, that if you haven't mastered addition, you're never going to master multiplication.
Correct.
Right? You're going to never. You're going to falter if your foundation is not built strong in terms of the learning pieces. Then anything you try to add on the foundations kind of can it can sort of break down.
Yes.
So it's better for kids to enter where their comfort and their confidence level is, where you've got the right amount of stretch, rather than when you've got too much stretch and then kids end up feeling, not so confident. Their self-esteem takes a hit, and they never get the gap from what they don't know to what they should know, right? That gap always remains a gap. So in this, so we'll take kids in, but we'll take them in at a certain level. For kids who have ADHD, this is naturally a better learning style because it's fast. It's a lot faster paced, and it's not allowing for kids' attention to kind of go everywhere. We have a lot of mindfulness, breathing activities, brain gym exercises within it for kids who, yeah. So it's and for kids with physical,
Challenges.
disabilities, it's just an ideal way to go.
Absolutely.
Here, I would just want to point out one thing which Lina had always told, and we follow in the school, is the buddy system. And it works out amazingly, especially the ones who are a little bit slow. We have seen that they learn from their peers better than, when it comes from the teacher. It's not that they don't, but when they explain, they tend to grasp things faster.
Better.
That
Yes.
was always which Lina used to say,
And
make
that works for both.
Yes, it's helpful to
keep
both
telling,
the
yeah,
children.
she always keeps telling, and you would see all her any program, it's always kid-led. She'll tell, let them make a mistake. We are here to, guide them into right path. So the buddy system works amazingly. Plus, we do have certain doubt-solving sessions where the teachers are there in the meeting and the kids can come and, get their doubts solved. So they are at ease also because that becomes more like one-to-one. So there are kids who are shy, might not want to ask in the class with a lot of students. They join these sessions.
Individually. Okay. So what I'm also understanding specifically about special needs is certain needs which can be addressed on a digital platform. They are free to join, but there are cases where it is difficult for them to be engaged or focus. Here, online might not even work for them. A one-on-one for even learning might help. So it might not be an ideal situation for such children. But generally, you would go case by case.
Yes, we have to go case by case. So at the end of the day, we want to do what's in the best interest, long-term interest of a child. So if the best long-term interest of a child is Dreamtime learning, yes, great. If the best long-term interest is not Dreamtime learning, then we would.
Definitely got that. Okay, so you did touch upon this peer interaction as part of the program, and they would be working together in groups. But another common thing that comes up when it is online is about socializing. Okay, so we get that quite often for homeschoolers as well. But socializing and the collaborating on projects, I do understand that does happen on any activity. But what about socializing, or maybe let's say clubs and group projects? Group projects you mentioned, yes, but events, these are part of offline schools.
So I'll let Anusha talk a lot about the events and the clubs and things like that, because a lot of that was initiated by Dr. Anusha. But there's a myth that online doesn't mean social. In fact, it's very social. Your mirror neurons that are driving our interaction and my mirror neurons are equally turned on through digital or whether we're sitting face to face. There's no difference in that. The difference is in the physical interaction, and I'll let Dr. Anusha talk about the physical interaction. So what Dr. Anusha has initiated in terms of kids getting together in communities, I'll let her take over.
Yeah. So I would first touch upon what we do, online. So as Lina said, one most important thing I think, which I would want Lina, you to speak about is the socio-emotional capacity which we have. It really helps the students from grade 1. So Lina, if you can just tell them about the socio-emotional capacity which we teach in the school, because in a way that helps them to even socialize, because once you know about yourself, it becomes easy to interact with others. So Lina, first, if you could just tell about that, I would continue.
So when I say our curriculum is developed largely around neuroscience, behavioral science, if you look at it, Indian spiritual wisdom had a lot of that already in as its wisdom and knowledge, which we kind of lost along the way. So Dreamtime learning is a lot about mastering yourself. Because if you look at where we are, we're in this conflict between what is a creator economy and an attention economy at the same time. So in the attention economy, anybody who gets your attention makes money, right? So whether it's on social media or anything else. And at the same time, we're telling kids, don't become the consumers of information, become the creators of information. But these two are loggerheads. So we have to keep on pushing the creator side of and showing them the downside of being a consumer and getting sucked into the consuming part of technology. So the social emotional learning deals, I mean, this is dealt with throughout the curriculum. So, I'm going to quickly talk about, so for example, in Harry Potter, you were speaking about neurodivergent kids or kids on the on either side of the spectrum. And we do that through Harry Potter because we start with, you've got the Muggle world and you've got the wizard world. And in the wizard world, you've got half-blood, squibs, all these different types of wizards. And then they've got different kind of chromosomes, DNA, and then we go into how it happens in humans. And we do it through Greta Thunberg first, right? So because she's got Asperger's, she's got ADHD, etc. But how she's made her weakness her gift. Right. And then we go into that. So that's just like how the curriculum kind of works, is a lot around mastery of the self, knowing each other. The social emotional curriculum specifically deals with things like negotiation, bullying, growth mindset. So while the curriculum is developed around growth mindset, this is specifically a session on growth mindset. How does your reticular activation system work when you're setting goals? So teaching kids exactly about their brain. One of the things is we have a parent who actually runs a school, and his kids are in our online school. And he said, I was amazed. I was interviewing for a coordinator. And when the interview got over, I asked my child, how did I do? And she said, but you didn't ask any questions that will tell you whether the coordinator has a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. And he said, I was knocked off my chair. Right? I could not believe that this is what the kids are learning. So that's the social emotional learning side of it. Now, Dr. Anusha, I'll let you talk about the clubs and what you're doing in the hybrid world.
Sure. So I would start, as I said, with the online setup, and like Lina has already said about the group activities. I keep jumping into different classes and seeing, even Lina does it, but I would just share that I have seen that when we go into different breakout rooms, the way the kids interact with each other, you will not feel that they are not there physically present with each other. And sometimes I thank my stars because even they are fighting. And if they are fighting, for some point which they feel it is right. That's what I was telling. I thank my stars telling that, okay, this is happening online. They will not punch each other to prove a point, right? So, but the fact is, there is a huge amount of love. I can give you instance where a particular child was traveling from Mumbai to Ahmedabad, and the train was supposed to cross Surat. There is one child in Surat. Believe it, the train was supposed to stand for 5 minutes. The parents and the kid, they came and visited the other parents and the kid who were traveling. They forced the parents to rework on their journey, and on the way back, these parents had to stay back for 1 day, and they stayed in their house. So the bond which forms is amazing, right? Only one thing which I have spoken to the students and they tell which is missing is, on my birthday, my best friend might not be present with me. That is the only thing which goes missing. But just to see that, this social thing doesn't get missed, we have a lot of clubs which we run on Saturdays. So we have theater clubs, we have art clubs, we have, music clubs, different type of clubs which is there. The kids can come and, enjoy with, and we keep it section wise. So the primary together. So they even come to know like who is there in a higher class, grade 5, this Didi is there, that Bhaiya is there, that always discussion happens, so those happens in that. Also, this is for the online setting. Another thing that we have started is the hybrid mode, right? In places where we have our micro school and we are planning to open much more across, uh, we let these kids go into our physical schools and take part in the activities which are there on Saturdays, right? Another thing which we have also initiated and done this year is I have traveled down personally to the major cities, got all the kids and the parents together, formed a group so that that group gets activated because you need that first initiative, right? A trigger to start. They all get together, and believe it, I had gone for the first time. I never felt it was the first time. The way the kids come and hug you, the way the parents talk to you, it doesn't look as the first time. It's all picnic, like which we used to go in the past, right? With all khana wana and all sitting and enjoying ourselves. It was that way. And at that point, the club was formed, and all the parents started interacting with each other of that area. And I would tell you out here that we had people traveling across cities to meet. Like in Mumbai, there was a child who forced her parents, no, I want to meet my friends in Mumbai. All are planning to come there. So we had from kids from Pune, we had this child traveled from Chennai, right? They all came here and they enjoyed, and absolutely enjoyed themselves. Now we are planning for a convocation. The reason we are planning is all the international students want to come down. They are like, this picnic has happened. Now we want to come down and we want the convocation. We all are going to meet. We want to meet our teachers. We want to meet everybody. So we are planning for a convocation. So it's that physical thing. I think, it's just in the mindset. Once we cross that barrier, it just goes off.
And you all are planning out activities where on and off. It just
Yes,
isn't really.
excursions, picnic, a day picnic, everything. So it's there, which keeps happening, say, and the group which is formed, we tell them once in a month, meet up, meet up somewhere.
Yes.
It might be just for a coffee. There are times even the parents meet up. The kids might not be there. They might the school. They are like, they are in the school, so we'll quickly meet up. So these sort of things do happen. So as I told you, it's just.
And I'm going to start doing that as well. So I went to Oman recently, and all the children from Oman and the parents came and had coffee with me. So it was, a great bonding.
In fact, they're all waiting for Lina to go to Goa because Goa are like waiting. Okay, let Miss Lina come and then we'll meet up. So that's one due. So
yeah, it's always lovely to meet, especially when you are elsewhere. Many of us have online, friendships, and then it's very nice to meet, and then take it forward from there. Just one last question. We're running out of time. We're almost there. There's one very important question that had come up in the group as well. So the teachers are the heart of the school, right? You've spoken so much, but when it comes to the implementation, it is the teachers who do this. So just can you tell me how are they selected and what sort of training? You did mention that Lina's always reminding you all, but this is a very different.
So I think one of the beauties is, so for example, if I'm running a school in a rural area, I have to rely on the teachers. If I'm running a physical school, I have to rely on the teachers from that area, right? There may be difficulty with pronunciations, language, etc., etc. In an online school, we can choose the best of the best, right? And in today's day, not only are kids excited about half-day school because you finish learning in half the time online, but so are teachers, that they don't have to do that travel. Spend all that time in traveling, etc., etc. They come online, they do their sessions, and it's all structured. Even the assessments, the observation trackers, everything is structured for them. So that they actually come on more like emotional enablers and motivators. But that's why we call them cheerleaders rather than somebody who has to now create a lesson plan, go into class, conduct it, etc., etc. And we have constant training. So we have our own continuous professional development that occurs. In fact, our teachers go from being cheerleaders to growing into different avenues. So you can become from a teacher, you can join the curriculum team, you can join the training team. And so for, last year was our first real year. So this year, the CPD is not just around curriculum and understanding the brain and behavior, but it's also around enhancing your skills and becoming the best version of yourself like we want kids to be.
Before we wrap up, just another quick question. Any of your children who've taken the board exams yet? You said 1 year. Have they taken the board exams this year?
So they're going to take the board exams this year for the first time.
Okay.
But, when I ran Billabong High, it was similar. Parents were doubtful about what and we had the world toppers in Cambridge. We had, state toppers and country toppers, city toppers in CBSE and ICSE. So firstly, it shows you that I really am board agnostic, that we need kids to excel wherever they are. But again, it's not just about an examination, right? We want to give kids the tools, strategies to cope with the uncertain future that's coming. And give them this, the skills of inner mastery, because learning is going to be abundantly available. Your focus and attention is what you want to master.
Absolutely, I agree. And I think many homeschoolers would also agree with that. For them, a board is just a hurdle or a certificate that needs to be done. So the questions come, are you equipping them for that or preparing them for that? That's all. So exactly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so thank you so much, Lina and Dr. Anusha, for sharing these insights. Been a great discussion. I wish I could go on. It's topic of interest for me. I'm sure many parents who are watching have a clearer understanding of what Dreamtime Learning has to offer. So for those interested in learning more, be sure to check out Dreamtime Learning on EdDeeD.com for more details. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye-bye.